Probability. The number of favorable outcomes over the total number of possible outcomes. Vocabulary words to know. Experiment. An action where the results are uncertain. Sample space. All the possible outcomes of an experiment. Sample point. One of the possible outcomes. Event. A single result of an experiment. Outcome. The result of an experiment. If a fair coin is dropped on a hard surface, there are two possible outcomes. The coin lands heads up or it lands tails up. Khalifa dropped a coin 100 times and recorded the results in Table A above. 1. Based on the table, if Khalifa's coin is dropped once, what is the probability that it will land heads up? What is the probability that it will land tails up? Show all your work and/or explain your answer. 2. Based on the table, if Khalifa's coin is dropped 500 times, how many times would you expect it to land heads up? Explain your answer. 3. Explain why the theoretical probability of heads-up landing could be different from the experimental probability shown in Table A. Show all your work and/or explain your answer. 1. Based on the table, if Khalifa's coin is dropped once, what is the probability that it will land heads up? What is the probability that it will land tails up? Show all your work or explain your answer. There are two possible outcomes, getting heads up or getting tails up. To get either outcome by dropping a coin, there is a 1/2 or 50-50 chance. Vocabulary. Experimental probability. Experimental probability of an event is the ratio of the number of times the event occurs to the total number of trials. Theoretical probability. The probability that a certain outcome will occur as determined through reasoning or calculation. 2. Based on the table, if Khalifa's coin is dropped 500 times, how many times would you expect it to land heads up? Explain your answer. If you divide 500 by 100, you get 5. The 100 comes from the open response. Khalifa dropped a coin 100 times and recorded the results in Table A above. So use 5 to multiply the probabilities you got from dropping the coins previously. 58 over 100 times 5 equals 290 over 500. 42 over 100 times 5 equals 210 over 500. Both 290 over 500 and 210 over 500 are theoretical probabilities based off of experimental data. 3. Explain why the theoretical probability of heads-up landing could be different from the experimental probability shown in Table A. For example, rolling a number 2 on a die. There are 6 total numbers and only one number 2. Your theoretical probability is 1/6. Now, to get your experimental, you'll roll your die and keep track of how many rolls it takes to get a 2. One over 3 is your experimental probability. Back to the problem, your experimental probability. What would your theoretical probability have been? Usually with 2 outcomes, your theoretical would have been 1/2 or 50 over 100. Usually your theoretical probability is just a possible probability, but sometimes both your theoretical and experimental could be the same. Box A contains 3 cards numbered 3, 4, and 5. Box B contains 3 cards numbered 6, 7, and 8. If one card is drawn from each box and the sum is calculated, how many different sums are possible? Time's up. 3 plus 6 plus 7 and plus 8. 3 plus 6 equals 9. 3 plus 7 equals 10. And 3 plus 8 equals 11. 4 plus 6, 7, and 8. 4 plus 6 equals 10. 4 plus 7 equals 11. And 4 plus 8 equals 12. 5 plus 6 plus 7 and plus 8. 5 plus 6 equals 11. 5 plus 7 equals 12. And 5 plus 8 equals 13. There are 5 possible outcomes. 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13.